Hey everybody. Today I wanted to do a quick video on my home theater and audio equipment, which is a hobby of mine. I love to mess with stereo equipment, car stereos, home theater equipment. So let's get this started. I'm going to show you guys what I have and what I bought throughout the years and my experience. It's been a lot of trial and error. If I could redo everything, I would go with a powerful 2.2 stereo system. All right, so here's the equipment that I have. I'm gonna start with the speakers and subwoofers. I have, and this isn't my normal setup. I'm just experimenting with this, so that's why these speakers are kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and I have them sitting on these weird tables. So what I have here is a Mythos 10 right here, Defender Technology. Another Mythos 10 right here. And I have a total of 6 Gem XLs. There's 4 here. And then I have 2 more here in the bedroom. And then I have 4 Mythos STSs. And I did another video on these Mythos STSs, and I can't recommend these towers as much as I love Defender Technology speakers and the sound that they put out for their size and their price range. I can't recommend these because these have built-in subwoofers and amplifiers, and 3 of the 4 amplifiers have gone out on me. And they're beautiful, slick looking speakers. What I do love about these speakers is they're not very big, and when people hear them, they're shocked at the sound that they actually put out. My friends can't believe it. They're not big, but they're not small. You know, here's my hand right here. So they've got a little bit of size to them, but they're a lot smaller than your normal speakers that you see in your everyday store, or that people usually buy and put in their house. Now I'm gonna go to the subwoofers. Now I have a SuperCube reference. I think it's about a 14.5 inch or 15 inch driver. They say it's got an 1800 watt amp. In my opinion, they do sound good. I've never heard subwoofers in anybody's house put out this much bass, but I know there are other subwoofers out there that I just haven't had the privilege of hearing that can put out bass. The bass that these put out that I like is it puts out that super low bass that's so low that you can't hear with your ears, but you feel it. And it doesn't sound ugly or bloated or like chafe in the air or anything like that. It doesn't sound like they're struggling to do it. I've never found anything that can actually bring these subwoofers to their knees or bottom them out. And that's 2 here. I do have I have the boxes over here. There's a spare bathroom that I don't use. These are empty, and these are SuperCube reference subwoofers. All right. And then I have another 2 over here in my closet, and they're heavy. These are about 100, close to 100 pounds each. Again, SuperCube reference subwoofers. And then in the bedroom, like I stated earlier, I have 2 Mythos Gem XLs and 10 inch subwoofer. I want to say it's a big subwoofer, approximately 450 watt amp. Then over here I have a Denon 4308 CI, an Oppo 93, Emotiva XPA5, and a power conditioner, Furman. I can't remember if it's Furman Elite. Very convenient for plugging in multiple items. And over here I have another XPA5 Emotiva and an Onkyo. At one point when I was living in Colorado and also in Hawaii, I actually was running a 9.4 home theater system off of this receiver right here with the 2 Emotiva XPA5s and Oppo 103. So like I said earlier, with what I've bought and what I've gone through over the years, it's a lot of trial and error when it comes to home theater. And I wish I would have known then what I know now. If I could redo it, I would go with a powerful, strong 2.2 stereo system. Home theater, I love it. I love having a lot of speakers, multiple subwoofers, but I find that I listen to music a lot more than I do watch movies. It's easier for me to just flip on the stereo, start listening to music, as opposed to sitting down and trying to watch a movie. And I do love movies, but I tend to listen to music a lot more. And these, I'm not going to say these are the greatest speakers in the world, but for their price range, I guarantee you they'll compete with any speaker in that range. I guarantee it. My favorite thing is either having these 10s hooked up. They're not small, but they're not big at all. These Mythos 10s or these satellite speakers. My favorite thing is allowing my friends to hear it, and they just see two speakers, and then it just blows their ears off. And again, they're entry level. I wouldn't say they're high end, because in my opinion, they're affordable and they're not too expensive for the sound that you get. And I'm not gonna say they're the greatest speakers in the world just because I own them. I've heard a lot of speakers in people's houses, and in my opinion, these are still my favorite. They're rated around 200 watts, so I'm pushing the actual 200 watts into them with the XPA5, and you can turn them up. I mean, you can crank these up, and the volume is clear. They don't start to distort or sound too harsh. And like I said, in my opinion, they're beautiful, sleek-looking speakers that your everyday person who likes to listen to music or watch movies can afford. Now, one thing I didn't get to mention about these towers and my experience with Definitive Technology customer service. One of these towers, I can't remember which one, of course, they all look alike, but one of these towers, I guess I had blown a driver. I guess I blew a driver, and they're not very big drivers. These are about 4.5-inch drivers compared to the Mythos 10, which has I think it's a 5.5-inch, and that inch makes a big difference. I mean, it makes about a 20% difference in the sounds of vocals or your sound stage. If I could redo it with the towers, I would have gone with the STS the ST instead of the STS, because the 4.5-inch driver is not as doesn't sound as good as the 5.5-inch driver that's on the Mythos 10. But anyways, what I was getting at was one of these drivers up at the top was rattling. It was rattling where I could hear it through movies and passages, so I'm pretty sure I had a blown one. So I called Definitive Technology, and my warranty had already expired on these speakers. And I was living in, I bought the speakers in Colorado, and I was living in Hawaii. And whoever I talked to was extremely helpful, extremely nice. He asked me a few questions, and he shipped those drivers out, and I got those drivers in about 7 days. And I ended up pulling out taking apart the top, which was a little more difficult than I expected. There was a lot of weird wires, and they looked like microchips and like a little motherboard out of a computer. So I didn't know what the hell was going on there. I was terrified once I opened up the speaker, but I got the driver in, and it worked like a charm. I think they sent me 2 drivers. I think I ended up replacing 2 drivers, but I might be wrong. It's been a few years, and I haven't had any issues out of them. Even though the amplifiers have gone out, you can still plug in and you still get the highs with no issues. And the thing I do like about these is the height. You can set these where you want, where they need to be placed for your home theater audio, and they still work fine, even though the amplifiers aren't working. But I did another video on that more in depth. But maybe if I'd have told them the amplifiers were out, maybe they would have sent me something. But I didn't even think to do that. That was my experience with Definitive Technology. Their customer service was amazing. Whoever I talked to, I can't remember the guy's name. It might have been Chad or something like that. And very helpful. And that's one thing I did like about them. And again, I definitely recommend your Mythos Gem XLs or the 10s, because they put out a lot of sound for their size. I can't recommend the towers because of how quickly the amplifiers went out on me. And again, these are speakers I think that your everyday person can afford, who likes listening to audio and, just watching some movies. And I guess that's about it. I don't really have much else to mention. I'm sure I forgot a few things, but if I don't cut this video short, I'll be sitting here running in circles, repeating myself. If you guys got any input, any information you want to put say it on my video, put it on there. And again, like I said, when I was running a 9.4 system, it was amazing. It was awesome. I loved it for movies, but I just don't have the time anymore to sit down and watch movies, as opposed to being able to just turn on the stereo, sit back, relax, have a drink or two, and just thumb through my music all throughout the night. Anyways, that's the end of the video, guys. If y'all have any input, questions, post it and let me know. Thank you. Thanks for bearing with me and watching the video.